How are you guys? Today we have a testimony of faith, and I have Jesi Stracham with me today. She's sharing her story on how she became a faith testimony. How are you doing today?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited to share.
Of course, I'm excited to hear your testimony. Could you please tell us a bit about yourself and your story?
Yeah, so my name is Jesse. I'm live outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. 11 years ago, I was in a motorcycle accident that left me a paraplegic. So I lost use of my legs. I had a traumatic brain injury in that accident. And then also coded twice and had to be resuscitated. Up until the day before my accident, I was actually I identified with atheism. I didn't really believe in anything. I figured when you die, you die. I thought maybe there is a universe, but never really dove into it or poured into it. And then the day before my accident, I was at a friend's grandmother's funeral. And as the pastor was speaking, I felt warm calmness come over me from my head to my toes. And I just knew everything was going to be okay. And at first, I thought it was with Granny, the woman who had passed away. But then the next day, I'm in this life-changing motorcycle accident where a woman made a U-turn in front of us. The driver didn't stop in time, so he went through the window, broke his leg. I went over the SUV, broke my back in two places, chest collapsed, ribs punctured in my lungs, nicked my spinal cord, traumatic brain injury, and I coded twice and had to be resuscitated. And at some point when I was in that code, I saw my own grandmother who passed when I was a child, and she told me, Jessie May, it's not your time. You can't stay with me, and I can't stay with you, but there's things you need to do and people to get back to. And then I came back and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I talked to grandma. And my mom knew that I had died at that point. She's like, there's only one way she would talk to my mom. And we got my medical documentation, and my dad saw that I coded and had to be resuscitated. But I still fought my faith the first 5 years or so of my injury. I tried to, manhandle life on my own. And 5 years in, my cousin committed suicide. The year before that, my niece had, and both times I felt jealousy. And I'm like, man, people ended their life and I feel jealousy over it. So I should probably ask for some guidance and help here because clearly I shouldn't be feeling jealous that someone's life is over and they're no longer here. And so I prayed and I was like, God, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what my life's for, but I just need you to guide it. I'm giving it to you. Please just show me what I'm supposed to do. And it was literally like God was waiting for me to give him that permission. And life has just literally taken off since. That was 6 years ago at the time of this recording. It's 2026 now. I found my faith during the pandemic, during the lockdowns. I know COVID was a hard time for a lot of people. It was the best time for me because it forced me to stop and actually find my faith. Um, Rather than kind of running from it and running from what had happened to me. And life has been so cool ever since. And I think the most important thing for people to really think about is like, you've got to stop and just take a step back and watch where God does work in your life. Like that little miracle when you don't know how you're going to pay your bills, and then all of a sudden this money you didn't expect comes through, or you don't know how something's going to work out, and then all of a sudden it works out better than you could have ever imagined in your life. Like that's not you. That's God. It's bigger than you. It's way bigger than you. And having that faith and understanding that there's a higher power working in our favor and that we are favored by God as long as we do right. We're good people. We add value to the world. I think people think they can pray and say, please give me $1 million, and that's what's going to show up. And that's not what's going to show up. What's going to show up is a bunch of actions that you can take and opportunities for you to make that $1 million on your own. It's not just going to show up as a gift. And I think so often people think that prayer is this on-demand, instant gratification delivery system, and it's not. It will give you a test and it will give you something to work through to create that opportunity. And if I've learned anything in my 11 years at the time of this recording being paralyzed, it is just that. It's that the opportunities will come, but you have to be willing to take them and walk through the door and do the work. They're not going to come without work. Nothing worth having in life comes for free. And I think a lot of us do want that easy road. It's not real. It's not a real thing. It's a dream that kind of has been sold to us as a society. And I believe I could go down a conspiracy theory hole on that, but just to make people controllable and just listening. And I think there's a reason that people want us away from God. There's a reason that there is a war on having faith right now. And I believe it's because faith does make us so much more powerful than any power a man could have over us.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and also details on how you've overcome over the years through many different challenges on our physical world. I do want to ask you in terms of you mentioning you used to be an atheist. How did this experience in particularly strengthen your spiritual understanding of your connection to God? Because I know you said you had an encounter with your grandma during those times, and she mentioned that you had a purpose here. And I know that that may have a big meaning to you spiritually, and also the fact that you are here after going through all these different challenges. So, how did that affect your spiritual understanding?
At first, the experience just kept me alive. I would be lying if I said those first few months out of the hospital were easy or where I felt worthy of even still being here. But the words my grandmother spoke to me of you have a purpose, there's a bigger reason for being here. It made me understand that things are orchestrated a little bit, and there's sometimes we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react to it. And that was the ultimate test. Before my injury, I also lived a very reckless life. At 15, I got pregnant, had an abortion. I had a sex addiction and I abused substances along with alcohol and pharmaceuticals. And so I made a lot of bad decisions, and it was paralysis that finally pulled me out. I wrote a book last year where I reflected a lot on who I was before the injury. And I believe like pregnancy was God trying to pull me out of that sexual addiction and trying to force me to learn self-love of the body and find fulfillment within self. And I didn't listen. And then there was other moments and things that happened where God was trying to wake me up and I didn't listen. And it took the paralysis to finally start listening. Um, I knew there was a higher power after the injury because how else do I explain, seeing my grandmother and making it through this and understanding like I still had such a will to live placed on my heart. Um, but it was really 5 years in when I actually was like, okay, God, what am I supposed to do? Where's life supposed to go? And the opportunities that just seemed to fall on my lap. I was like, oh wow, like there's really a God orchestrating this. And even to this day, like you can tell by what happens to you in your life when you get away from giving gratitude to God and giving the faith and actually paying it forward and adding value to the world and helping others see the bigger picture. And I feel like that's when you start to try to manhandle your own life and you stop allowing God to dictate your life. And there's a big misunderstanding of like you allow God to guide your life. That doesn't mean you don't work. That doesn't mean you don't add effort and put effort into the your day to day. You still have to put effort into what you're building, but God will tell you if you're on the right path or not, and it's by what happens and what's going to happen. But you also have to be able to understand the difference between is this a test or is this truly redirecting my path? And you can, when you actually take a third eye view and a bird's eye view of it and look at your situation from kind of above and remove you from the situation, you can see which path to take. But it comes with practice, and there is no right or wrong. Like I personally, I don't go to church, but I read scripture. I pray almost every day. I give gratitude for my life to God. And I think there's not a good way to be a person of faith. And I also call myself a person of faith. I don't call myself a Christian. Because again, I don't attend church. Like I just know that there's this higher power that I pray to. I like to read the Bible because it teaches you kind of how to be a good person. But like I'm not gonna conform to the faith that everyone thinks I should have because that's what led me to atheism to begin with. And I don't want to go down that path again. And I now I'm aware of kind of what really turns people off on faith and what kind of pushes them away. And when you actually give your life to God and have the faith in this higher power, life is so much more fulfilled. And so we're really doing humans a disservice by pushing them away because we tell them, you gotta be this way, you gotta go to church, you gotta do it. Like, no, you don't have to do it that way. You figure out what way faith works for you, and then you lean into that. But pay attention, dude. Gotta pay attention because you can see where God's working in your life.
So I think you made a good comparison between what religion is compared to a relationship with God and actually having that faith. And I believe that you've also showed examples on how your spiritual strength actually got you along when your physical strength wasn't there, or maybe your emotional or mental health wasn't as strong compared to your faith at the time. And that's really how you've been able to overcome. I also want to point out that you mentioned you had a few people you lost to, taking their own lives, and you felt very, I want to say, challenged by this because of your own experiences. And I wonder if over time you have become more grateful of your opportunity to be here and change people's perspectives on God and life itself. Because I know you said you wrote a book, and I would love to also share with my audience if you do have a link or a website I can get it from. But I wonder if this changed your perspective a little bit.
100%. I mean, like I've been paralyzed for 11 years now. And so like even right now, right? Like I'm in bed if you're watching the video version of this because I have a wound on my butt and I can't be in my wheelchair. And it's like I'm still grateful. I'm grateful that I'm able to articulate what I've went through and maybe help empower somebody. And that's the thing. I believe our struggles in life, whether it's a divorce, whether it's loss of a loved one, loss of a child, dealing with chronic illness, dealing with something within yourself or externally, all of those challenges we face, the way we react to those is going to dictate how life moves, either in our favor or against us. We all have that person in our life where it just seems like life is out to get them. And we don't realize that our perspective of the world is often why life feels that way. Just like if your perspective's the other way, it's going to definitely work in your favor. Like your mind and your belief of what you deserve and what the world around you is, and then the effort and attitude that you put forth in this world, those things are going to dictate whether life works in your favor or works against you. And trust me, I've been on both sides of that. And like even right now, it could feel like life is working against me, but actually it's working in my favor because I need to stay put for a minute so I can actually get done what I need to get done. But if I didn't have this wound, I would just be go, 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 wouldn't stay put. It wouldn't have led to me making a career change. It wouldn't have led to me making a career change that where I feel more fulfilled and I'm actually serving big on a bigger scale than I had been. But I also had to be open to looking for the opportunities within this struggle as well. No different than when I became a full-time wheelchair user. I'm like, all right, how can I use this to my advantage? Like, what can I do? What impact can I make? And it led me to creating a nonprofit that serves the independence of wheelchair users. We had a meetup this weekend here in Charlotte, brought 15 wheelchair users together in a grill and chill. I have a fitness app. It's the first downloadable fitness platform for wheelchair users. There was nothing like that. There was no fitness for wheelchair users. And if I didn't get paralyzed, you know, there at current day would not still be a fitness app for wheelchair users. And so it's like when you look for the opportunity in what you're going through, you can always find it. And then that opportunity is like, okay, it takes your perspective off of the bad side of it. Because while I do enjoy my paralyzed life, I don't enjoy being paralyzed. And two things can be true at once, and that's okay as well. And faith is so deep and complex that people like to put this little like surface level description on it. And it's so much deeper than that. There's so much effort that goes into it. Some people think they can pray and get a result, and that's not the way it works at all. And the sooner we just accept that there's no easy path in this life, the sooner life can actually be lived to its fullest.
Thank you so much for your input. I believe that you are a great example of gratitude and purpose throughout the way that you're helping advocate for others, based on your own experience. And also just pointing out that God will always hand us opportunities, no matter the circumstances you may be in. It's all about, like you said, your mindset, your faith, and how willing you are to overcome and keep pushing forward, not only for yourself, but also for other people as well. So I want to
Yes.
thank you for being here today and sharing your story.
Yes, thank you so much for having me and just sharing, the bigger purpose here, right? Is just sharing how great God is in working in our lives when we allow it. And that faith doesn't, it's not a linear thing. It's not linear for everybody. It's not the same for anybody. And you don't have to fit in the box that society says that you should when you have faith or are a person of faith.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope my audience can learn from you today.
Thank you.